اللهم يسر ولا تعسر. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. We are continuing in Bahjat An-NaDHar, over 400 questions from the text of the obligatory knowledge, questions and answers. We've reached question 61, so that means we are on track to reach question 100 soon. Then we'll be about a quarter of the way through. Let's get started. So the author says, question 61, Allah Ta'ala said about Prophet Yusuf in Surah Yusuf, verse 24, وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ وَهَمَّ بِهَا لَوْلَا أَن رَّأَىٰ بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ. The verse means, and she certainly initiated to commit adultery with him, and he intended to push her away from him had he not received the inspiration from his Lord that if he pushed her, it will be used against him that he was the attacker. What is the meaning of wahamma biha? Okay. For a moment, I was afraid this is going to be like that other one that wasn't really a question, if you remember. Maybe 2 questions ago. Here's the question. What is the meaning of wahamma biha? Yani, you could streamline the question a little bit or just slightly rearrange it. Put this in the beginning. What is the meaning of wahamma biha in the saying of Allah about Prophet Yusuf in Surah Yusuf, verse 24? وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ, etc. And then they gave the meaning of the ayah. They gave the meaning of the ayah here. And he intended to push her away from him. So that's the question. I didn't read the answer yet. So my answer for this question is the meaning of wahamma biha. So supposing someone asks me, what does wahamma biha mean? Then I might say to this person, well, you're asking me this question, what this means. So let me start by giving you a verbatim literal translation first. Here's wahamma biha. Hamma means he wanted. Arada. He wanted something. Yani something here in parentheses with her. Or I could I can include the word with in the parentheses. He wanted something with her. وَهَمَّ بِهَا. So I would say to that one. So your question to me is, what did he want with her? What's the meaning of this? Now, and then I would say to you, the meaning of وَهَمَّ بِهَا, the scholars have more than one interpretation for it. But there are 2 in particular that are stronger than others. The strongest interpretation, according to what we learned, is that wahamma biha, he wanted something with her, means he would have wanted. He would have wanted something with her. لولا أن رأى برهان ربه. had he not received the inspiration from his Lord. He would have wanted something with her had he not received the inspiration from his Lord. And what that means is, since he did receive the inspiration from his Lord, he did not want anything with her. For example, what if someone said, I would have knocked you out had you not given me my money? So it means, since you gave me my money, I won't knock you out. According to that, then, the meaning of the statement is linked to what comes after it. Then the meaning of this whole piece of the ayah here, وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ. She wanted something with him. By God, she wanted something with him. There's a swear here. وَلَقَدْ. By God, she wanted something with him. وَهَمَّ بِهَا لَوْلَا أَن رَأَىٰ بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ. And he would have wanted something with her, or if we take out would have here, and he wanted something with her had it not been, so he would have wanted something with her had it not been that he saw burhana rabbihi, the evidence of his Lord, had he not received inspiration from his Lord. So that's one way to explain it. And another way to explain it is that wahamma biha means he wanted to push her away from him. That's what he wanted with her. He wanted to push her. وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ. By God, she wanted something with him. وَهَمَّ بِهَا. And he wanted something else with her. Yani something otherwise. He wanted something else with her. That's other interpretation. She wanted something with him, and she wanted something else. She wanted something with him, and he wanted something else with her, which was to push her away. لَوْلَا أَن رَأَىٰ بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ. Had it not been that he saw the evidence of his Lord, which is that, had it not been that his Lord inspired him, oh, Yusuf, if you push her, if you put your hands on her, she will accuse you and have you killed. So he didn't push her away. That's the meaning of the ayah. So that's my answer. Let's see what's the answer here. The answerer says the best of what was said in the interpretation, or about the interpretation of وَهَمَّ بِهَا لَوْلَا أَن رَأَىٰ بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ is that the latter part of the verse explains the former. That is, if it had not been for the protection of Allah, Prophet Yusuf would have attempted to fornicate. This means that he did not attempt in the first place because Allah protected him by having eternally chosen him for the status of prophethood. So that's what I said, maybe in fewer words. Some other interpreters from the people of the truth, i.e., the noble Sunni scholars, said that the meaning of وَهَمَّ بِهَا is that Prophet Yusuf wanted to push her away from him, but Allah inspired him that if he pushed her, she would say to her husband, he pushed me to force me to commit the sin. So Yusuf did not push her. Instead, he turned his back to her and walked away. Then she tore his shirt from the back because she went after him. He didn't walk away, he ran away. He ran away. فَاسْتَبَقَ الْبَابِ. They raced for the door, both of them. Yani, he ran for the door to get out. She ran for the door to keep him in. Then she tore his shirt from the back when she caught up to him from behind to grab him. As such, the evidence was against her because Allah Ta'ala made as it was said, a baby in a cradle speak. And because that was a supernatural occurrence, that baby was deemed a witness without having seen it. And the baby said, if his shirt is torn from the front, then he is a liar and she is one of the truthful. And if his shirt is torn from the back, then she is a liar and he is one of the truthful. So then her husband investigated his shirt and found it torn from the back. As such, the evidence was against her. Okay, that's good. Correct answer. As for what is stated in some interpretation of this verse that Yusuf attempted to fornicate, that he attempted or he prepared himself to, maybe even attempted is still far, that he readied himself, that he untied his clothing, yani he undid his belt or untied his drawstring, and then he sat with her as a man sits with his wife. This is all false. Such things are not such things are not befitting to any of Allah's prophets. Correct. So this answer adds something that I didn't say, which was to draw attention to the misinterpretation, a spread misinterpretation. Allah said about clearing Prophet Yusuf in Surah Yusuf, verse 5, قالت امرأة العزيز الآن حصحص الحق أنا راودته عن نفسه وإنه لمن الصادقين. The verse means the wife of Al-Aziz said, now the truth is out. It was I who sought to seduce him, and indeed, he is surely of the truthful. Yes, and more than that. Actually, Surah Yusuf is loaded with proofs. There's more than 10 proofs in Surah Yusuf that clear Prophet Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam. Okay. And this question also is not taken directly from the text of the summary of obligatory knowledge. Any question? The author says, question 62. Allah Ta'ala said about one of the two rivals who came to Prophet Dawood seeking his judgment on a dispute in Surah Sad, verse 23. Inna hadha akhi lahu tis'a. Inna hadha akhi. إن هذا أخي له 99 نعجة ولي نعجة واحدة فقال أكفلنيها وعزني في الخطاب. The saying of one of the rivals means, indeed, this, my brother, has 99 lambs, and I have one lamb. So he said, entrust her to me. And he overpowered me in speech. What is meant by Naja in this verse? Also, here's the question. So, makes me think that that one up there, let's see it again. Question 59, maybe they forgot to put the question in there. So, what is the meaning of Naja in the verse? So, they gave us the answer. The answer was given in the question. Now, also in the previous one, the answer was given in the question. If someone did that to me, I'm going to say to him, why are you asking me and you already know the answer? Or I might say that to him. There's a good chance I would say that to him. Because here, he knows the answer. The one who's asking the question here, according to the translation, yeah, it's the translation that makes it like that. And if it were just in Arabic, then no. The ayah is presented, and then there's a question. What's the meaning of Naja in the ayah? But what happened in the translation, that the ayah was presented, and then it was translated, the meaning was translated, and then the question followed, what's the meaning? But the meaning was presented when the ayah was translated. So I would say to a person, probably, why you are asking me and you know the answer? And then it's possible that he doesn't realize that the answer to his question is in his question. And it's a good chance that I will here, give him a hard time. Yeah, I could just answer his question. But me personally, I don't always, a lot of times I don't just answer the question. Not that I avoid the question, but just sometimes I notice something. So I just want to investigate, see what's going on. You playing with me? Are you a silly person? Or you are serious? I want to know. So I'd say, well, don't you realize that your answer is in the question? You know, the question to your answer has the answer in it. The answer to your question, the question that you want answered has the answer in it. So if he says, no, where's that? Then I'll point it out to him. If he says, yeah, I knew that, then I might say to him, so why you are asking me? Then I'll see what he says. For example, he might say, I was just making sure. So the answer is that Naja means lamb. That's the answer. Or sheep, it's female. A ewe, E-W-E. Ewe, female sheep. That's the answer to the question. So I might just say just that much only, because that's what his question is. Ajib ala qadri su'al. Answer the amount of the question. That's what our sheikhs taught us. And then if he wants to follow up, I'll let him follow up. Maybe that's enough for him. When I say it means you. I mean the female sheep. So he must say, okay, barakallahu feek. That's it. Now I saved myself time and energy, saved him time and energy. Let's move on. Or he might say, Can you clarify that for me? And then inshallah I'll clarify it for him. Or he might have some other follow-up question here. Let's see what the answer is here. This answer says Arabs may refer to women as ni'aj. So I say the answer started out without directly answering. I prefer usually to answer question directly, immediately and directly. For some reason, I might not. Depends on who I'm dealing with or what the issue is. But my default stance is to answer the question immediately, not with build up unless it needs one, and directly. Yani not roundabout, beating around the bush, not clear, kind of sort of answer. This is not the meaning of the word in the ayah. Here's the question. What is meant by naja in the verse, in this verse? Not what do the Arabs, what might naja mean to the Arabs? That were the question. What might naja mean to the Arabs? Then this would be perfectly fine answer. Arabs may refer to women as ni'aj. That's plural of naja. Ewes, lambs. Yeah. Maybe it's like how, for example, a woman might be called a fox or a chick. They call them a ewe. Yeah, or a lamb. Although I find a lamb more appropriate than a fox or a chick to be in direct reference to a woman or a female. So it says, however, it is not permitted to interpret the word an-ni'aj in this verse, which that's not the word, that's the plural form of what's in the verse, as women, as some interpreters did. Yes. Yani they gave a figurative interpretation without sufficient evidence to do so. The default position for interpreting the Quran or the Sunnah is to explain them as they appear. And I advise you to take all statements with this rule. As long as you have sufficient knowledge of, you know how to understand when someone's talking to you. What I'm saying is not for someone who doesn't understand when someone's talking to you. You understand when someone's talking to you. Could be literal statement, could be figurative statement. Unless you have a proof that's figurative statement, you're going to take it as it appears. Take a person at his face value. Unless you have a reason to do otherwise. And this will help you to follow instructions too. Here's someone's instructions. Take them at face value and do what you were told to do if you need to follow instructions. They caused a great deal of harm with their misinterpretation that became famous. They claimed that Prophet Dawood had 99 women, and the leader of his army had one beautiful one. They continued to claim that Prophet Dawood liked that woman, so he sent his leader to die in battle so that Dawood would be able to marry her. Such an interpretation is corrupt because this does not befit any of the prophets. And not only it doesn't befit any of the prophets, it doesn't fit the story. وَهَلْ أَتَاكَ نَبَأُ الْخَصْمِ إِذْ تَسَوَّرُوا الْمِحْرَابِ. Oh Muhammad, did the news of the litigants, the disputants, reach you when they scaled the wall of David? إذ دخلوا عليه ففزع منهم, when they intruded on him and he was startled by them. قالوا لا تخف, they said, fear not. خصمان بغى بعضنا على بعض فاحكم بيننا بالحق. Amongst us are two litigants. Judge between us fairly, etc. So where is the leader of David's army here in this story? Where's women in this story? Sending someone away to battle. So Allahu Alam, how do they make the connection? How would a Sunni scholar make this connection? I don't know. It says they continue to claim that Prophet Dawood. Okay. Imam Ibn al-Jawzi, after citing this fabricated story about our master Dawood, said in his book, At-Tafsir, the interpretation, and this story is not authentic through the route of narration, through any route of narration, and is not permissible by the meaning it conveys, or in meaning. It is not authentic in transmission, and it's not valid in meaning. That is so because prophets are protected from such acts. They are impeccable. As for Prophet Dawood asking Allah for forgiveness, it was because he gave a ruling to the two brothers after hearing from one of them and before hearing from the other. And that is the answer to a different question. Possible not to bring this up and completely answer the question. That other question would be, why did Prophet Dawood repent? The ayah is قالوا لا تخف خصمان بغى بعضنا على بعض فاحكم بيننا بالحق ولا تشطط واهدنا إلى سواء الصراط إن هذا أخي, this one is my brother, له 99 نعجة ولي نعجة واحدة, he has 99 sheep and I have one, or 99 ewes and I have one. فقال أكفلنيها وعزني في الخطاب, and he said, give it to me, and he out-talked me. قال لقد ظلمك بسؤال نعجتك إلى نعاجه. There's the word ni'aj. It is in the ayah. I said it's not in the ayah. It is in the ayah. He said he has wronged you concerning taking your you to add it to his own. وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا مِنَ الْخُلَطَاءِ لَيَبْغِي بَعْضُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. And indeed, many of those who mix their assets wrong each other, except those who believe and did righteous deeds. وَقَلِيلٌ مَا هُمْ, and so few they are. وَظَنَّ دَاوُودُ أَنَّمَا فَتَنَّاهُ, then David realized that we tested him. فَاسْتَغْفَرَ رَبَّهُ وَخَرَّ رَاكِعًا وَأَنَابَ, so he sought forgiveness from his Lord. And he fell down in prostration, repentant. So why he repented here? فَاسْتَغْفَرَ رَبَّهُ. Because as a judge, he needs to hear both parties. He heard one party and then gave a verdict. So he repented. Any question? All right, we finished a segment of the book. The segment pertaining to the essentials of belief. Yeah, there's a segment, essentials of belief and rules of apostasy. That's a whole segment of the book. So we finished part of the segment, and now we're on the next part of the segment. Apostasy. Question 63, what is apostasy? And into how many categories is it divided? That's two questions. So sometimes, and I saw Sheikh Samir do that, and he did that with me. Someone would say, I have several questions. I have 2 questions. I have 3 questions. So I might say to a person, ask me the first one. Just ask one, then we'll see. So there's 2 questions here. What is apostasy, and into how many categories is it divided? So my answer for those 2 questions is apostasy for us as Muslims is for someone to leave Islam and become a non-Muslim after he was a Muslim. That's one. That's answered. And into how many categories is it divided? I would say it is divided into 3 categories. Apostasy from the heart, apostasy from the limbs, and apostasy of words. Those are answered now. Let's see what's the answer here. Answer, apostasy is an interruption of Islam. Yes. Apostasy, or you could say it, is divided into 3 categories. That's better to switch your words up in terms of English language. Yeah, that's academic standard. When I say it's academic standard because English is not a preserved language. So it could be that in Old English, they would do something. Original English, they would do something. But as time passed and professors were able to manipulate the language as they saw fit, high-ranking professors were able to manipulate the language and influence the rules of the language, then things get changed. Want to understand English well or any other language? Read. I'm not talking about reading religion. We don't learn our religion by reading. Read literature. Some person will have not read anything. I'm talking about literature. And he wants to tell you, no, you can't say this, you can't say that. I looked into the dictionary, and I looked in all the dictionaries. I looked in every dictionary I could find, and not a single one of those dictionaries validated what you are saying. I would say to a person, can you tell me a single book of literature that you have read? And he says, well, I don't have time for that. I'm busy with religion. Now, I might say to him, well, it's not enough for you just to look into dictionaries. That doesn't mean you understand the language. If you want to understand the language, read literature. Then you're going to get much better understanding, not just reading in dictionaries. And the older, the better. So he says apostasy is divided into three categories. Yes. Such classification was given by An-Nawawi and other scholars among the Shafi'i, Hanafi, and other schools of Islamic law. This is the answer to a different question. That question would be, who gave this classification? Then it says, the answer continues, its categories are beliefs, deeds, and sayings. Yes. That is technically, though, yet another question. Because the original question is, how many and not what are they? And for myself, it's a good chance that I would answer the question exactly as it was posed and then let the person follow up. How many categories? Into how many categories is it divided? The answer would be 3. Stop right there, period. Your question has been answered. And now we'll wait. And he might say, okay, Barakallahu feek. And I'll say, okay, Barakallahu feek. And we'll keep moving. Or I might say to him, do you know what those are, though? Depends. Because I will be investigating the one who's asking me. I'll be sizing up the one who's asking me. And I'll make my decision on whether I'll leave it there or if I want to follow up with that person. As for the bare answer, the answer is 3. And then, according to that, this last sentence is the answer to another question. What are those 3? Those categories are beliefs, deeds, and sayings. Question 64. State a proof from the sayings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that it is not a condition that a person knows the judgment of his or her blasphemous belief, deed, or saying for him or her to fall into blasphemy or kufr. Okay. So that's a person saying, do you have a proof for this? So then my answer would be, there's more than one, but my answer would be the one that the Sheikh taught us is the standard one, or taught us as the standard one. Yes, At-Tirmidhi narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa ala alihi wasallam said, Inna al-abda la yatakallamu bil kalimah. Indeed, the slave of God will certainly utter the word. La yara biha ba'sa, not seeing anything wrong with it. He will indeed utter the word, not seeing anything wrong with it. Yahwi biha finnar. He will utter the word, and by it, he will fall into hell. 70 kharifa, for 70 autumns. And I probably would say, which means 70 years. Because I do like to clarify my own words without the person asking me, what does this mean? If I can perceive that my own words need clarity, then I will say what it is I want to say and then clarify my own word and not leave the person to ask me what it means. Likely, usually, I might not, though, for a reason. Like maybe I just want to see how well this person is paying attention. So I wouldn't clarify something, or maybe it's clear to him, so I don't have to clarify it. So here the answer says, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and then gave the hadith that I already gave you. And added who narrated it. Oh, I told you who narrated it. And added its grade. وَحَسَّنَهُ. And he deemed it as it's a fair hadith. That means acceptable. It's an acceptable hadith. The answerer said, this means, indeed, one. Yeah, so that's the slave. May utter a statement. So A is indefinite, but there's the word. Kalima, word. Could mean statement though. I'd say a word, personally. La yara biha ba'sa, that he does not see any harm in. Yes. Yahwi biha, but for which he will fall in hellfire. Finnar, yes. Sab'ina kharifa, the depth of 70 years. Yani 70 autumns. And 70 autumns equals 70 years because autumn comes once per year. Here, the answerer didn't see that he needs to say to the one who's asking him 70 autumns, which means 70 years. So he went right to the exact meaning at the end of the day, and he said 70 years. And that's fine. I would do that likely. Depends on who I'm answering. It says this means the distance covered in descending 70 years into hellfire. Yes, falling. Falling head first, headlong for 70 years. Can you imagine? You can imagine how scary that has to be because you don't even know. The kafir, is he going to know? Unless he finds out how deep it is before he gets thrown in hell. But even if he were told, you're about to fall for 70 years. How's he going to keep track of the time? He's falling and falling and falling, have no idea when he's going to land. And he's falling headfirst. Ya Latif. This is the bottom of hellfire. Yes. 70 autumns is the bottom of hell. And only the blasphemers inhabit it. Yes, as proven by another hadith. This hadith was narrated by At-Tirmidhi, who classified it as Hasan. Yes, I said who narrated it. I didn't say the grade of the hadith in my initial answer. A hadith related by Al-Bukhari and Muslim has a similar meaning. Okay, so before I go forward. So the initial question is state of proof. A proof from the sayings of the Prophet for this case. That was done up till here. Just by giving the hadith, he answered the question. But no problem in adding some clarity here. And that's what was done. This means the distance covered by descending 70 years into hellfire. Otherwise, possible to extract other questions from the details of this answer. Like, what does falling for 70 autumns mean? Oh, this means the distance covered in descending 70 years into hellfire. Then someone could ask another question. Is there something special about that distance? Yes, this is the bottom of hellfire, and only the blasphemers inhabit it. And had I not mentioned who narrated the hadith, then the person could ask, who narrated it? And then the answer would be, this hadith was narrated by At-Tirmidhi. And then the person could say, please Can you tell me the grade of the hadith? And the answer would be, At-Tirmidhi classified it as Hasan, or it is classified as Hasan, and then the person could ask, who classified it? And then the answer would be At-Tirmidhi himself, the one who narrated it. And then there's another possible question here. Is there another narration on this issue? And the answer would be yes. A hadith related by Al-Bukhari and Muslim has a similar meaning. It states, إِنَّ الْعَبْدَ لَيَتَكَلَّمُ بِالْكَلِمَةِ مَا يَتَبَيَّنُ فِيهَا يهوي بها في النار أبعد مما بين المشرق والمغرب. This means, indeed, one may utter a statement that he does not see any harm in. Yes, indeed, the slave will certainly speak with the word without clarity about it. ما يتبين فيها, without discerning. He would say a word without discerning. Yahwi biha finnar, and because of it he shall fall into the fire, ab'ada mimma bayna al-mashriqi wal-maghrib, further than what is between the east and the west. Hafiz ibn Hajar said when interpreting the aforementioned hadith, this includes what involves belittling Allah or his Islamic laws. That's the answer to another question. Who explained this hadith? Hafiz ibn Hajar. What did he say? When interpreting the aforementioned hadith, he said, this includes what involves belittling Allah or his Islamic laws. It continues. These two hadiths, they didn't put an S there. Some people don't. Some people say hadith without an S for singular or plural when speaking in English. These two hadiths are a proof. You can take out A if you want. Are proof that it is not a condition that a person knows the judgment or feels delighted or believes the meaning of the uttered blasphemous word. For a person to commit blasphemy, which is kufr, such a condition was falsely stated as such by the author of the book Fiqh Sunnah. The book Fiqh Sunnah claimed that this is a condition, but such a condition is unfounded. And there are numerous questions that you can pull out of this paragraph here. When it says these two hadiths are proof that it is not a condition for a person, that a person knows the judgment, feels delighted, or believes the meaning to commit blasphemy. What's the exact question? The exact question is, state a proof from the sayings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that it is not a condition that a person knows the judgment. Yeah, so that is directly related to the question. These two hadiths, although the one who asked only for a hadith, so the answerer gave him more than what he asked for, because he gave him two hadiths. Or it's possible to look at it as one hadith with two different versions, one hadith with two different versions. Then we would say he gave him one hadith, but with additional information, really more information than he needs to accomplish the answer for the question. Is that good or bad? It depends. It could be good. And the Prophet did that before, alayhi salatu wassalam, or it could be not good. It depends. They say, لِكُلِّ مَقَامٍ مَقَالٍ. Every situation has its own statement. When you don't want to do that, when the one you are dealing with is a beginner, because beginner does not tolerate details. It's not primed for taking details. So just give him bare minimum, as much as least as little as you can, so he can soak it and comprehend it well. That's a beginner. Or someone who's not so clever. So then just give them easy answer. Or also what you might, when you might not give too much information, when you're dealing with an adversary, an adversary, then be mindful of saying too much because you don't want to teach him. You don't want to teach him. Why? Because he's not on your side. So you're going to make it more powerful. This one who's not on your side, you're going to make him more powerful by giving him more and more knowledge? No, don't do it. And then next time, even if he can't defeat you, he's going to go and give someone else even harder time, because now he has more knowledge that he got from you. Be a guardian of the knowledge. Be a custodian of the knowledge. Be in service to the knowledge. Think about it like money in terms of taking care of it, preserving it. It's not your money. So then you need to be a custodian, and you're going to spend it where it needs to be spent. And you're going to be frugal and save it when it should not be spent. Sometimes you're going to only spend the minimum amount of money because you're in charge of this money. You need to do what's best for it. And sometimes you're going to spend some extra money because you had the wisdom to know how to spend the money without squandering it. Okay. Let's stop there. Wallahu alam. Here's a question. If Prophet Dawood repented, does it mean he committed a sin? Yes. In this case, he did commit the sin, which is, what was the sin? Giving the verdict before listening to both parties. It's not permissible for the judge to do that. And other things not permissible for the judge to do. Subhanallah. You learn our religion, and then you'll see those judges doing those things. What else is the judge not supposed to do? Judge not supposed to, for example, make one of the litigants move over to special side and then turn towards him. And so he's facing one of them without facing the other one. That's haram. So yes, barakallahu.